that got graded yesterday, make sure you do put that in your EOC folder. So make sure that gets put back in there.
Yeah.
How much does each point?
Oh, on the paper that got graded, each question is worth, or each that you missed is 5 points off. So if you miss 1, it's a 95. If you miss 2, it's a 90. Miss 3, it's an 85. Miss 4, it's an 80, etc.
I lost mine.
Okay, number 4 says, what point on the graph below shows 24? What point on the graph below shows the solution to the following system of linear equations? Okay, the problem with the way it looks right now is neither of these equations are solved for y. So we need to solve both of these equations for y so we can figure out which lines go with the two equations. Okay, so I am going to recopy this top equation up here. And I'm going to recopy the bottom equation up here just so I have a little space to work. Okay, so remember, if you ever want a graph that you do want to solve for y, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to circle everything smushed with my y. And then remember, we add or subtract whatever's outside the circle. So what would I do in the first one? Subtract x. So we haven't done a lot of solving for y lately, but we did do it a lot at the time. Okay, the 2y comes down, and the right side, how do I rewrite that? Negative x plus 2. And then to get y by itself, how do I get rid of that 2? Divide by 2. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And then this x here has a 1 in front of it. You just don't see it. So this is a negative 1/2 x. And then what's 2 divided by 2? 1. Okay, let's see if we can find this line. If I want to find the line that goes with this, first I'm going to look for the y-intercept. So what's the y-intercept of this equation? The y-intercept's a 1, so that's right here. And then the slope, what does negative 1 over 2 tell you to do?
Down 1, right 2.
Down 1, right 2, down 1, right 2. Okay, so this is the line to the first equation. So this line right here is the line to the first equation. It has a y-intercept of 1, and it goes down 1, right 2, down 1, right 2, or up 1, left 2, up 1, left 2. Okay, second equation. I'm going to solve this for y, so let me circle everything smushed with my y, and then whatever's outside the circle I'll add or subtract. So what would I do here?
Subtract 3x.
Okay, so I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. The negative 2y will drop. The equals will drop. How do I rewrite the other side?
Negative 3x minus 10.
Good, negative 3x minus 10. And then how do I get rid of that negative 2?
Divide by negative 2.
Good. So I divide both sides by negative 2. And then I can clean this up a little bit. What's a negative divided by a negative?
Positive.
So that's a positive 3/2 x. And then what's negative 10 divided by negative 2?
5.
Positive 5. Jacob, can you get off that, please? Then I want to find the graph that matches this. What's this one's y-intercept?
5.
5, so I'm going to come up to the 5. And then what does the slope of 3 over 2 tell you to do?
Up 3 right 2.
Up 3 right 2, up 3 right 2, or down 3 left 2. Okay, so this line right here is the one that we just figured out. And when it says, what's the solution to the system, it wants the what? Yeah, their intersection. It wants to know where they intersected. Where do those two lines intersect? At W. So W is the solution. That is where the two lines intersect. The thing that made this problem a pain was you had to figure out which two lines were the two lines that they gave you because they weren't in slope-intercept form. Okay, we just practiced exponents the other day, so I'm going to make this one a candy question. So take a moment, figure it out. Does somebody want to draw names?
Me. I called it. You got the call last time.
Okay, we'll let Jacob try. And I have new candy. I went shopping.
Do you have water?
Do I have water? No.
I like water.
I mean, I have water in my water bottle.
There's literally free water.
Yeah.
Is there a reason none of these calculations?
Midlothian water is
Yeah, this thing.
It's not turning on, Zach?
But
Oh my god.
it's better than like kids.
Oh yeah, this one's not either.
Why does it suck it up?
These thieves, they
Has
stuff.
a lot of
Batteries are in. Maybe these jokers switching.
Probably.
Oh no, no,
I
they
haven't
switched it. The battery switched.
It's like it's so bright. So soft. Yes, you are. You are so. It's OCD. Yes, it is. If there was three paintings hanging on a wall, one of them was crooked, would you fix it?
I will remember that.
OCD. Yes, it does.
Now, second up makes it lighter.
No, second up makes it darker. Second down makes it lighter. And you just keep doing it.
Are you freaking kidding me?
Okay, are we ready? Okay, Jacob, draw me a name.
Dun, dun, dun. Mackenzie.
Okay, Mackenzie Thorne. It is C. Go ahead and come on up and help yourself. It is C. You take the 14 times the 3, which makes 42, and then you add your exponents. Whenever you're multiplying the same letter together, you add your exponents. Very nice. Yes?
Do you think I'm OCD?
Evelyn, why do you keep asking me these strange questions? First you ask me if I have water. Huh?
I have OCD.
Everyone has their own form of OCD.
My mom is.
And you're
I have to get water.
Andy writes your name in Chinese.
Okay, I need to keep on going. All right. Number 26. Looking at number 26, are the parentheses smushed or not smushed? Not smushed. So I'm not going to start distributing like crazy. I'm just going to see if there's anything in front of the parentheses to distribute. So is there anything in front here to distribute? No. Is there anything in front of the second set of parentheses to distribute? Okay, so I need to distribute this negative. And, gosh, can we even tell what those are? I think they're all minuses. Wait a minute.
There's 4 things. Minus 8 things.
Okay, so this, if I distribute this, it's going to make it a what?
You drew me.
A negative 4k squared.
You draw me.
And this negative times this negative makes a
We're not playing that game.
positive 8k. And this negative times this negative 23 makes a positive 23. Okay, the front set didn't have anything to distribute, so I'm just going to recopy all of that. And I believe
Jacob drew me, so can I answer?
that's a plus 14, you think? Or is it a minus? Is it a minus 14? Okay, I think it's a minus 14. Okay, take a second and combine like terms, and we'll draw
But
name.
he drew me, so can I answer
I
it?
did not.
Oh my god.
That's why I don't want to
Eat
draw.
like
He drew me and he knows it.
Just 50 long sandwiches. No.
Okay, let's give everybody a moment to work it
Can I
out.
tell you what it is?
But let's not say who gets drawn initially. I want everybody to work the problem, and if you know who gets drawn, then there's going to be people who don't want to work the problem.
Yeah.
Talking to you,
We're talking to
Tyler.
you.
He said, yeah, like he was talking to you.
Yeah, I'm not telling you to shut your
Oh,
mouth.
you someone with a shut your
I'd get slapped in the mouth.
No, I thought she was telling. I mean, he was telling Miss Wooded.
Tyler, shut up! I'm trying to work out.
in your head.
Yes, in my head.
Tyler. Dude, you're not going on the side of me.
Miss Wood, how was your day?
I've been having a good day so far. We're getting fed babes today, so I'm super excited.
Oh yeah. I can only eat babes like once a month.
Yum.
I
Hey,
saw
this is
some
why you
chicken
don't eat
wings.
babes. Babes is all meat. Chicken.
But they have amazing sides. Amazing.
I don't know.
It's there's one in Cedar Hill and there's one in Burleson. Those are the closest ones, and they have mainly chicken of things that you can order from, and then they have endless sides of mashed potatoes and corn and green beans, and you can just get as much of it as you want. And so it's like a home style kind of restaurant, family style kind of restaurant. There's big tables in there.
Oh, subsidy.
It's really good food. Okay, what's the answer, Tyler, since your name got drawn?
Hey.
Okay, it is A. Go ahead and come on up. 3 squared and a negative 4 squared makes a negative 1k squared, or a negative k squared. A negative 19k and a positive 8k makes a negative 11k. And if you combine the constants, you do get the positive 9. So it is A. And I know that was kind of hard to see.
All right, this is a hard decision.
Okay, moving on to 27. I would like less talking as I'm trying to go through this, because you guys have your test on Tuesday, and I'm trying to get any information into your brains that I possibly can that maybe you've forgotten about or you just are a little rusty on or whatever. Number 27, what is the slope-intercept form of the linear equation whose graph passes through negative 3, 4 and has a slope of negative 2? Okay, if I know what the point is and I know what the slope is, do you know what formula I could use? And I'm not saying this is the only way to do it, but point slope. Since I have a point and I have a slope, I can put my equation in point slope and I can go from there. I also could just put these into the... Sydney?
Come on, Cindy.
I could also put these in the y equals of my calculator and go to the table and see which one has negative 3, 4 in it. I could do that too. But I want to practice like this. So it's going to go y minus, which one's the y coordinate? 4. And then equals, what's the slope? Okay, and then in parentheses, x minus plus 3, minus a negative 3. Tyler, stop talking. When I distribute the negative 2, what's negative 2 times x?
Negative 2x.
And what's negative 2 times 3?
Negative 6.
Good. And I'm going to drop my y minus 4. And to get the minus 4 to go away, what would you do?
Add 4.
Good. So I'd add 4 to both sides. And in doing so, the y drops, the equals drops, the negative 2x drops,
Minus 2.
and a negative 6 and a plus 4 makes a negative 2. But there are other easier ways that I could do this. These all do have a slope of negative 2, so I know they're all good as far as that's concerned. I could plug each of these in the y equals, go to the table, and see which one has negative 3, 4 in the table. So that is a real easy way of doing it, making the calculator do the work. But I just wanted
Are we
to...
supposed to memorize that formula for the test? Or
It'd be on the formula chart.
Okay, good.
Yep, that formula is on the formula chart. Okay, number 28. Jim and Sam are... Well, no. I just want to read the problem. Jim and Sam are both spending the night with a cousin. The total number of miles Jim drives, J, including a 2.5-mile detour for lunch, is given by the equation J equals 65t plus 2.5. The total number of miles Sam drives, S, including a 1-mile detour to pick up another cousin, is given by the equation 70t plus 1. If t represents the time in hours after each boy leaves home, which statement best compares Jim's speed to Sam's speed? I'm going to let you read through it for a moment, think about it, and yes, we will draw on it. Okay, draw me a name.
Bailey Hawkins.
Okay, Bailey?
A.
Not A. Try another one. Try another name.
Jacob.
Jacob B? Jim's speed is 5 miles slower than Sam's. So when it talks about Jim's speed is 65 miles per hour. Are you guys aware that speed is slope?
Yes.
Okay, so Jim's speed is 65 miles per hour and Sam's speed is 70 miles per hour. That's what that really means there. So Jim's speed is 5 miles slower than Sam's. Jim's speed's slower because he's 65 miles per hour and Sam is 70 miles per hour. You just had it backwards.
That could have been so much easier if I just...
Yeah. So speed is slope. Your speed is slope, and the reason is because speed is how many miles you go per hour. It's what you're doing every single hour, and that's slope. Slope is your rate, and speed is a rate.
You just draw my name.
Well, he's not. He's picking.
Well,
He picked Bailey because.
put him back in the sack. We're not drawing any names right now, so put him back in the sack until we draw a name. Okay, 29. It says, what are the zeros of the quadratic function? Okay, if I want to find zeros, I can factor, I can graph, or I can use the quadratic formula. Okay, so Sabrina said let's graph. You want to graph?
Yeah.
Okay, in order to graph, it does have to say equals 0 or equals y first, does it?
Yeah.
Okay, it does say equals y, it's just the fancy y. So let's go to the y equals, and let's type it in. So negative 3x squared minus 8x minus 4. So if you're ever looking for zeros and it is quadratic, those are your choices, factor, graph, or quadratic formula. So I just go to my y equals and I type it in. You just need to make sure it does say equals 0 or equals y before you plug it in there. And then I'm just going to hit graph. And wherever it touches the x-axis, those will be the answers. Now, yours didn't look, did you have a negative 3x squared? Minus 8x minus 4. This would be a negative, but that would be a minus, and that would be a minus.
I forgot the 8.
Wait, what do you do after you type that in?
I hit graph. Okay, so wherever it touches the x-axis, the problem with this one is it touches in a funky spot. But can you tell where this one touches? It touches at negative 2. If I wanted to know for certain if that was negative 2, I could go to my table, and where negative 2 is, as long as you see a 0 in the y column, then you know that negative 2 is one of the answers. So let's just look. Do you know which answer it is? It's A. So the negative 2/3, that's a little bit harder to tell because you can't quite see there. So if you had another one here that had an answer of negative 2, you might have to stop and try to factor it to get a little more specific, or quadratic formula. Okay, this next one, I want to make this one candy. It wants to know the domain and the range, and I know you have to look kind of closely. So take a moment on 39, figure out your domain and your range, and then I will have Jacob draw a name.
Whoa. Just put a name back.
I already called her.
Kinsey, he just had you, but
Yeah, I didn't already call you?
It's okay.
you can call somebody twice. Kinsey.
Jacob, I'm about to take your assignment away.
He's
I
got
thought
way
that'd
too
be
many
fair.
complaints.
I gotta be fair, say, oh, my bad.
Alright, it's Kinsey's turn. He put another name
We're
back.
not doing it. She just said wait.
Why are you still
Well, I want everybody to work the problem, and then I'll have you draw. Because, like, I want you to work the problems too, Jacob.
Oh, wait.
I mean, I don't want you just drawing names.
He doesn't even have
Yeah, if you call the names before they finish the problem, then no one else is gonna want to finish the problem.
I don't call them out, I just know what, I didn't say their name.
I know, but you're not doing anything either back there, and I need you to do something too. I want you to try to work the problem, because what if you draw your own name?
I know it.
I think he's convinced his name's longer.
I was having a good day. And I love this class. Those guys back there are driving me freaking crazy.
Oh,
What'd you say?
I'm sorry. This
I said, you're driving me freaking crazy, is what I said. That's what I said. All right, draw me a name.
Look, guys, no, I'm not being... Sabrina.
Doubt it.
It is A. Go ahead, come on up. Okay, do I need to explain?
No.
Domain are your X's and range are your Y's. You just kind of have to look closely at the graph.
Wait, are we gonna turn this in?
No.
Yeah, I told you, I explained yesterday, this is a test grade.
Holy shoot!
I explained yesterday, this is a test grade. And some of them I'm going to do with you, some of them you'll do by yourself, and then hopefully nobody does awful because I will have done some with you. And then some of them you're going to do as homework. So when things are homework, you tend to sometimes have it easier than like if it's like in class test kind of thing. Okay, I want to go to 32 and then 33 just because of the way it's placed on the paper. So go into 32. 32 says, which expression can be used to find the nth term in this pattern? So this first number is the first term, the second number is the second term, this third number here is the third term, etc. The 7's the fourth term, the 9's the fifth term. You want me to do it by hand or you want me to use the calculator?
It's easy.
Hand.
Okay, if I were to do it by hand, this is what I would do. I would take what term it is, which is 1, and I'd plug it in that n and work it out and see if I get 1. If I put 1 in this n right here, what's 4 times 1 plus 1? 5, but I was supposed to get a 1. So when it's the first term, you're supposed to get a 1 for an answer, so A's out. Okay, if I put a 1 in this n and subtract 1, what's 2 times 1 minus 1? 1. That worked. Now I'm going to put a 2 in the parentheses. So if I put a 2 in the parentheses, what's 2 times 2 minus 1? 3. That worked. That's what I was supposed to get. Then I put a 3 in the parentheses. I know that's starting to get ugly. 2 times 3 minus 1, is that the 5? Okay, and I could keep doing it. B is the answer. Does anybody want to see the calculator option by chance?
Yes, actually.
If I wanted to do it in the calculator, I'd plug the equation in. So like A was 4n plus 1, so I would type in 4x plus 1. And if I went to the table, I would want to look for 1, 1, 2, 3, 3, 5, and I don't see 1, 1, so I know it's not that one. If I try answer choice B instead of 2n minus 1, it'd be 2x minus 1. If I go to the table, here's my 1, 1, here's my 2, 3, there's my 3, 5, my 4, 7, and my 5, 9. So it's just you kind of have to understand what it's asking. So the first term is 1, the second term is 3, the third term is 5, the fourth term is 7, the fifth term is 9, and eventually it wants to know what's the nth term, and that's where this formula comes in play. Okay, number 33 says solve. Okay, first of all, do you see that it is a quadratic? Since this is a quadratic, and the reason it's quadratic is because of the x squared, I do need to make sure it says equals 0 first. Does it say equals 0? No, so I need to fix that. What would I do? Okay, so I'm going to subtract 34 from both sides. If I subtract 34 from the right side, it will now say 0. And on the left-hand side, I just drop down the x squared. I drop down the minus 6. And then how much is 27 minus 34?
-7.
Okay, once I have my quadratic set equal to 0, I can solve this by factoring, by graphing, or the quadratic formula. I'm going to let you decide what you want to do, and then we'll call a name. So you could factor it, you could graph it, or you could do the quadratic formula. Doesn't matter to me. So factor, graph, or quadratic formula, and then we'll draw a name.
X equals opposite of B.
Plus or minus
Plus or minus.
square root.
I remember, I gotta do it. All over 2A.
B squared minus 4AC all over 2A.
Thank you.
Oh no.
Why do you like this class?
Well, you're one of my smaller classes, and sometimes I like smaller classes versus bigger classes. You can play a little bit more sometimes with a smaller class than a bigger class. For various reasons. It depends on the mixture of kids. And I just like your personalities in here.
Do you really? Will you be honest with us? Do you like this table?
I like you, but you're driving me crazy.
Yeah,
because I want you to listen and I want you to pay attention, and most days you don't.
Yeah.
And it makes me mad. Because, yes, I like to have fun and I like to play around, but I'm also here for a reason. And I take my teaching seriously, and so I try really hard to get everybody to understand and everybody to learn. And when I just hear you guys talk, it ticks me off. Yeah. And it's not just every now and then.
It's a constant thing.
Every day. Okay, draw me a name.
Come on, guys.
Get those games all right.
Courtney Cook.
Okay, Courtney?
I haven't gotten the answer yet.
No.
I'll answer for you.
Next.
Okay, give me another name.
Bailey Hawkins.
You don't know it.
It's C. Now, the last one we graphed. The last one we graphed, and I could do that again. Does anybody want to see me factor it?
You gotta like if it's negative 7, you gotta add negative 1.
Like factor it or graph it? Factor it?
If it's negative 1.
Okay, I'm going to factor this one just because I graphed the last one, but I'm going to factor it. So I always look for a GCF first. I just want to remind you of factoring, so can you guys please listen? I'm going to look for a GCF first, and there's not one. I know I've erased my chart. But when there's three things, that's when we do A times C rooftop, right?
Oh.
So what's A times C?
-7.
And I want the numbers to add to be -6. Do you know what two numbers do that?
Negative 7 and 1.
Yeah, a -7 and a +1. And then because of the 1 in front, I can shortcut. So it's going to go x with a -7, and it's going to go x with a +1. And then I just have to set both of those equal to 0. And if I set x minus 7 equal to 0, what do you get if you solve that?
Plus 7.
A +7. And if I set the x plus 1 equal to 0, what do I get if I solve that? -1. So there it is, solving by factoring. Does anybody need to see me graph it?
I think Zach does.
Is your graphing not working right today, Zach?
Well, I don't know if you could give me the wrong answer.
Okay, so I would type in x squared minus 6x minus 7. So x squared minus 6x minus 7. Is that what you have typed in there, Zach? X squared minus 6x minus 7. Okay, then I hit graph. And here it touches at -1. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It touches at 7 and at -1.
I did it.
Yeah, could you
Can you do the
Yeah, if I go to the table, I want to look for zeros in the y column. And the reason I want to look for zeros in the y column is because your y is a 0 here and your y is a 0 here. So I want to look for zeros in the y column. So there's 1. So I know -1 is an answer. And then
Oh, you almost hit me.
there's the other one, 7.
Mine said -7.
Because you looked on the 0 on the x side.
Yeah, you have to look for zeros in the y column. And that's because where the graph touches the x-axis, the y value is 0 there. Okay, number 31 says, what are the range values? When it says what are the range, what are they asking for? Okay, so they're trying to figure out what are the y's. For the domain, if these are the domain, these are the what? The x's. Okay, do you want to do it by hand or with the calculator? By hand? Okay. So I would put -2 into what? The x. So it would be -3. I'd slap my parentheses down. I'd plug -2 into the x, recopy the squared, recopy the +5. You could always make your calculator work that out, or we could do that by hand. I'm just going to real quick put that in the calculator, just like how I wrote it. So I'm going to type in -3, parenthesis, -2, square it, +5. So I just type it in just like how I wrote it on my paper, and I get an answer of -7. Knowing that, do you know what the answer is? But I could keep going. I could then plug in the 0, work it out, plug in the 1, work it out. If I used the calculator, I could go to y equals. I could type in that original equation, the -3x squared plus 5. I could go to the table. The first thing, the first x they gave me was -2, and I could see what my y was, and it was -7. And then the next x they gave me was 0, and I can see that the y is a 5. So you can make your calculator help you if you put that into the y equals. Okay, 34. This one wants to know which of those is equivalent. So I want to solve this for y. So this is when you circle everything smushed with the y and blah, blah, blah. Finish it. We'll draw a name. Bless you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. They changed the wrappers on their Hershey miniatures. Did you guys see? They changed the wrappers. I don't know. What are you doing? You giving me money?
I got bed too.
Here's the course.
Wait, okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. I'll take it. Are we ready? Have you guys had enough time? Okay, Jacob, draw a name.
I'm not cheating. Courtney Cook again. Wow.
Take the names out.
Oh,
No, you're not.
Put it back in.
dog in.
No, but it's not C. The reason I don't want the names taken out and set to the side is because if some person's name gets called and they know that their name is never going to get called again, there's no incentive to work the problem.
Well, then everybody might not get to go.
I understand that.
So that means once they get called, they basically not going to do any more problems because they know they're not going to do.
Right. I want everybody to keep on working and have incentive to keep on working. I would love everybody to just keep on working just because, but
But that's not how the world
Can we
works.
draw again?
yeah, draw again.
Mia.
Yes, it is B. Come on up. So first you subtract the 4x, the negative 2y drops, negative 4x plus 8 drops. I divide both sides by negative 2. Something special happens here.
Switch the sign.
Switch the sign because I divided by a negative. If you ever divide by a negative, you have to flip that sign around. And then the negative 4 over the negative 2 makes a positive 2x, and 8 over negative 2 makes negative 4. And that is answer choice B. I know it's hard to see.
What is D saying?
I'm a swell.
I think that's it.
If somebody would have answered D, I would have had to given it to you because,
I got D. Because aren't you supposed to? Yeah.
well, you can't tell. I mean, maybe it says something different.
But I did a plus for it.
I think it says 2x plus.
Yeah, it looks like a no. It looks like a minus 4.
I think it says plus.
But you can't, I'm almost thinking that it's a negative 2 because you see how much space there is here versus how much space there is there.
That's exactly what I thinking.
No.
But
No.
whatever. I mean, I know it's hard to see, so sorry.
I got D.
Okay, we're going to keep on going. The thing about what we get done in class, the more we get done in class, the less you have to do for homework and stuff. Okay? All right, 35. Mary sells bottles of water at a local golf shop. What is the relationship between the temperature and the number of bottles of water sold? Take a second, read through it, and we'll draw a name for this. And I'm only doing the candy to just have a little fun with you. Missed you.
He died in the bathroom. I wasn't even in the bathroom.
I don't think they knew where you were.
I'm enjoying it. Out there in the grind every day.
They made it doors like open up.
Well, you don't
They're
No, I didn't.
supposed to get the
Sorry, I wish.
They're not like little.
Be like,
Oh my God.
I'm thinking about it.
That one's my first song.
Oh yeah.
Okay, draw me a name.
Upper after school to see.
Guys.
Thank you.
Oswaldo.
Osvaldo?
They're all over.
B, as in boy? That's it. There is a positive correlation between number of bottles and temperature. You can see that has an upward trend, so that is positive correlation. Okay, I'm going to go here to 38 next, just because it's close by. So, 38, I want to make this one a candy equation too. Take a second and try to simplify that, and we'll draw a name. So I'm going to 38 next. Osvaldo, do you want something? You sure? Do you want to see if one of those ladies wants your candy? You sure? Okay.
Mrs. Wood, how's your kids?
Good. Very good. We're going to go to the park tonight. Colin wanted to go to the park yesterday really bad for some reason. I don't know why. So I said tomorrow. And at first he got mad at me, but then he's like, okay. Because he wanted to go today. Or yesterday. Because I looked at him. Well, this is a sign for play. And so he was in the kitchen going, I was like, what? I'm like, you want to play? And he's like, play. And then he doesn't say, well, it sounds like pop. You don't hear the R. And so it took me a minute. If he wouldn't have been doing this, I wouldn't know what he said. And so I was like, oh, you want to go to the park? And so I was just like, maybe tomorrow.
Maybe tomorrow. Mom's not feeling it.
Well, it was already like 7 something. Okay, draw me a name.
That's like my
Guys, look.
No one
Don't blame me for this.
That's how you always
There's like 7 of these. Courtney again.
Courtney.
I swear there's like 7 of them.
What one?
Why?
What did you say? Okay, draw me a new name.
Swear to God. What did you say?
What did she answer?
Oh, Peter.
No.
Peter.
He needed to do it.
Which question?
New name.
No.
Can you do it?
Is it 36 or 35? Because I saw 35.
Neither. 38.
Did you do something?
No.
We already did 35. Osvaldo's name got drawn. He gave the correct answer. We moved on.
It's A.
Nope, that's what Courtney said, and Courtney did not get it right. So no. Draw me a new name.
Sabrina.
It is D. You can't add or subtract these. They don't look alike. The X's have different exponents. The Y's have different exponents. You can't do a thing to it. In order to add or subtract, exponents and letters have to be alike. Now, I could multiply them. They don't have to look alike to multiply. I could divide them.
Oh.
They don't have to look alike to divide. But in order to add or subtract, they would have to look the same. And they don't. Okay. 36. Carlos is renting a car. Each mile he drives, M, costs 36 cents. And each day, D, he has the car, costs $15.95. If Carlos drives M miles over D days, which equation below expresses the total cost, C, of renting the car in terms of M and D? I'll let you reread that and see if you can figure it out. We're going to draw a name.
I do 55. They do
Hey.
Divided by 6.
Can you add 5 to each?
Divided by 0.
No. 4, 4, 4, 2, 1, 1.
Oh, why? We do a lot.
Use 666 plus 666 minus 666 plus 666.
That's what he just did.
Well, yeah, that's why I circled it, and I said let's go to 38 just because it's closer. And I had circled it.
Hey, do 667.
Okay, Jake, draw me a name.
Guys.
She went to the bathroom.
Tyler. Toby.
Tyler, what is it?
Woo! Are you joking me?
He doesn't even
I
have
thought it
it.
was 39, swear.
36.
Oh my god.
I read the problem to you. I read it to you. Draw a new name.
ID.
Draw a new name.
It is though.
We just gave some messages.
It is D.
No!
I know, Tyler, but you couldn't answer the question when your name got drawn and you didn't even know what problem we were on when I read the problem to you. This goes back to my point of you guys not paying attention. So it is D. They're going 36. It costs 36 cents for each mile, so 0.36 M, and it's $15.95 for each day, so $15.95 D. And of course, you'd have to add those together. Okay. And we did this today, and I have a video, but I gave no homework assignment. Okay, 37 wants to know what is f of 3? So I want to figure out f of 3. This is telling you, go to your f equation, that's this guy right here, but instead of using an x, you want to use a 3. So I'm going to do what?
Go to y equals.
Okay, I could do that. I'm going to plug a 3 into every x that I see, and you could go to y equals and do it that way, or everywhere you see the x, you could plug the 3 in, and you could work it out by hand, or you could make your calculator work it out. I'm just going to type it in. My calculator, just like I wrote it on my paper. So I'm just typing it in my calculator the way I see it on my paper. Of course, I could always do order of operations. And like Tyler said, I could put it in the y equals and do it that way too. And you should get 25.
I got 43. I just did on the calculator.
Does your calculator look the same as that?
No, what I did 4 times 3 and then...
No, can't do that. Order of operations, you have to do exponent first.
Ms. Wood, can I be your last question?
No!
No, I want to do a couple more. The more I do with you, the less is homework.
Yeah, guys, come on.
Did you need anything else?
Oh, did you grade my quiz?
Hello, Mr. Darby.
I graded your worksheet, though, from...
Whatever day it was that I
Oh, no, where is it? I wonder if somebody took it. Or did I stick it in a different pile? Because it should have been on top there. I don't know. I'll get handed back to you on next time I see you. Okay, 39. It wants to know which of these is correct. So, would the shading be above the line or below the line? The shading should be below. If you see a less than sign, the shading's below. What can you get rid of?
A.
Can't be A. Can't be C. Should it be a solid line or a dashed? It should be a dashed, so you already know the answer. B. Okay, I'm going to go to 41. 41 says, which of the following shows the graph of a function? I'm trying to figure out which one is a function. Is A a function?
No.
If I draw a vertical line across more than once. Is B a function? Yes, no matter what vertical line I draw, it's a function. C is not a function because if I draw a vertical line there, I cross more than once. D is not a function because I touch there and there and there and there and there and there. Okay, hopping over to 43. This is, you can't see it very well, 1 over r to the negative 3. I want to simplify that. Take a second, simplify it, and we'll draw a name, one last name for the day.
He's a little late with the bells about.
Wait, what the heck? It's impossible.
We're simplifying 1 over r to the negative 3. Okay, Jacob, draw me a name.
Can't get it wrong.